The Dead Hand system is a Russian values machine that will wipe Europe off the map. The end of the world is not a fantasy movie, but rather a Russian plan in progress. Yes, dear viewer, we are not talking about a fictional story or the worst end of life on planet Earth. We are not a trumpet to make Russia a scarecrow that terrifies the entire world. We are talking about one of the scenarios and weapons that Putin has in mind, a scenario that makes planet Earth a piece of hell. You can imagine that thousands of intercontinental missiles are loaded with tens of thousands of nuclear warheads. It emerges from the depths of the Russian land and from the depths of the seas and heads to France, Germany, Britain, the United States, all American cities and all the capitals of Arab countries. Even Russia's friends such as India, China and North Korea have atomic bombs targeting every inhabited city in the world. In this video we show you, dear viewer, the details and tactics of the Dead Hand or the Doomsday Machine, the last war that humans may witness. What is the Dead Hand? It is a control system that was designed so complex that it cannot be closed or suspended under any circumstances, even by the developers themselves. The system was secretly activated following the Allied victory over the Axis powers in World War II, that is, during the Cold War between the Soviet Union and the North Atlas countries. Russia declared explicitly in the year 1993 that the Dead Hand regime was still in service. It is a need, not a means. A basic need to prevent the outbreak of World War III. The system has a map that includes an international target bank. It has the authority to access, launch and direct nuclear missile platforms without any human intervention. The system remains inactive as long as it receives signals from sensors and sensors from satellites. Some of them are underground. It is reported that the live action continues in both the Russian Ministry of Defense and the Military Staff Command and Building. If all of these signals are interrupted, the system activates itself, directs its commands to the missile launchers, and enters the necessary codes for activation and guidance orders. Within a period not exceeding 10 minutes, thousands of nuclear missiles will be roaming the space of planet Earth before they destroy the civilization based on it and turn it into a radioactive planet without life for hundreds and perhaps thousands of years. In short, the Dead Hand system is a purely retaliatory system. He destroys the planet when Russia fails to protect itself, or lose any war, a regime that takes revenge on victorious enemies and weak friends alike. Working mechanism. In the first stage, when the system detects any radiological attack on Russian territory, it automatically revives itself, contacts the 3 command centers and waits for 15 minutes until it receives a response that the command center officials are still alive. He calls back 4 times, 15 minutes apart. When it receives the 4 responses, the system returns to the idle and monitoring state again. The regime did not receive confirmation that the leadership was capable of responding and making decisions. Since the military capabilities have become zero, the regime is heading to the second stage. It sends messages to workers in missile silos, nuclear missile launchers, submarines and underground warehouses that the Dead Hand system controls everything around them. After receiving that message, they cannot take any action, electronically or physically, with the hardware under their service. Reactions. The automatic trigger system raised concerns in many countries, most notably the United States of America, which asked Russia to clarify the extent of confidence in its automatic system. The latter responded that the system already exists, but it does not enter service except when urgently needed, and it has a special decision circle that agrees to put it into service in dormant mode. The system cannot be hacked in any way and has its own closed communication network. It is a deterrent before it is an attack system. Anyone who intends to attack Russia with nuclear weapons should think twice before making any stupid decision. In turn, the head of the perimeter team that designed the system and put it into service confirmed, the system cannot be misled and there is no possibility of an error occurring. Assuming that this happened and the system was activated for some reason, Russia is the only one capable, despite the inability to enter it. The system uses a group of non-combat missiles. Its mission is to ensure communication between the system and missile launchers in the event of radiation interference. In this case, Russia is able to destroy the communications missiles in the last moments before sending the order to launch the nuclear missiles. Nuclear capabilities. Russia actually possesses more than 300,000 ballistic and cruise missiles with a range ranging from 1,200 kilometers to 24,000 kilometers, making it the largest missile arsenal in the world. Russia admits to possessing 7,000 nuclear warheads, while Western sources report that Russia has many times that number. It hides the real numbers because it is a party to the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons and Weapons of Mass Destruction. In the 1990s, Russia also developed thermal bombs whose destructive capacity is comparable to atomic bombs. But it is not rumor. In addition to possessing a number of hydrogen Tsar bombs, which have a capacity of about 2,000 times the Fat Man bomb that the United States dropped on a Japanese city before receiving it in World War II. This is all except for Russia's intentions to send nuclear missiles into space that can be launched from outside Earth's orbit and enter the atmosphere to hit its targets, which means that deterring Russian missiles will be impossible due to the inability to determine their path or predict their locations. In conclusion, since nuclear weapons exist only to flex muscles and display power, the hypothesis of a nuclear war is not far-fetched. One of us might fall asleep for a few minutes and wake up to the news of a nuclear bomb falling somewhere. One of the countries experiencing conflicts and wars, in particular wars in which there is no winner or loser. Which one of the parties may resort to winning the battle in its favor by using nuclear bombs? But the worst news that would shock all the people of the earth is if one of those bombs fell on the Russian capital, Moscow. The dead hand system entered a state of automatic activity, where Russia's last message to the world will be after the flood. And you, dear viewer, do you think that Russia or any other country has the right to possess automatic trigger systems? In your opinion, what would be the fate of the world if the Russian regime did?